So here we have the building set up with the relationship to the station point here and the picture plane here. And we're going to go through the mechanics of how this perspective works. And I want to emphasize that I don't intend to have us spend a lot of time on this kind of mechanical layout of perspective. It's tedious, it's time consuming, and we don't need to do it much anymore because we use computers a lot to move through this part of the process, which I'll share with you more through the class. But I do want to say that this is the system that I discovered, created by the masters of the Renaissance, that as a 14-year-old boy, not knowing what to do with his life, this completely captured my imagination and really led me into my passion of architecture. So we have our picture plane, we have the building set up at an angle of view, and we're going to establish where our vanishing points are by running a line parallel to this face of the building from the station point, and another line parallel to this face to the station point. And we're going to then ultimately take those down to a horizon line, and that will be the establishment of our right and our left vanishing points. The next thing we're going to do is look at the sight rays from the station point to each kind of prominent corner or element in the building. And we're going to project those down towards the station point. This is where we're standing viewing the object. And those are called sight rays. And where they intersect the picture plane is where the trace of the image will be on the picture plane that we will be emulating when we draw down below. So we will take those lines, those sight rays, and we will project them down to our horizon line and then connect with our vanishing points. But I want to show you how this looks like a really static system, but it's not a static system. This is simply representing our view towards this building, and that as we work through this, we actually can rotate around this building. So we can actually stand in different places and we will see different relationships and different perspective views of this building. And I hope that's intuitive and that makes sense, that wherever we stand, we're going to see a different relationship, a different angle of view, and it's a very dynamic thing that we can move around. Now, it's tedious to do that in a drawing like this, but in my 3D modeling that I use all the time, it's not tedious at all. You can walk around this design and you can see it from any angle, any height that you want. But I just want to show you that this is actually a very dynamic setup and that you can set your drawings up from any distance. You can get real close and things get very distorted. So it's not a static system. It feels a little bit static when we move through this process, but it's not a static system. I hope that that's clear. So now we're going to move down, and we have brought our lines from the picture plane, the intersections of the picture plane, down, and we're going to go through the mechanics of laying out that perspective. And as I said, it does tend to be a little bit tedious. I've already begun it here, but it is a useful system, and it's helpful certainly to understand it so that as you are working through any sketch, you know why you're tracking where your horizon line is, where your vanishing points are, the scale of your people. And let's go ahead and zoom in. And this is obviously a very small, kind of crude construct, but the mechanics of it are right. It's all there. Every line either parallel or perpendicular to the face, sharing the system and the vanishing points. And it all ultimately makes a lot of sense if you take the time to understand it. So every line is going back to that vanishing point. It is a sketch, so things can get a little wonky. Like right here, the inside edge of this window. And this one goes back to that vanishing point. This one goes back to this vanishing point. I keep gesturing with my hand like you can see what I'm pointing at. You can't see my hand. Right vanishing point, left vanishing point. There's a walkway in front of the building. We see a very shallow image of it. There's a curb element here that comes out and defines the edge of this waterway. Here's where all the water is. Take it step at a time.